So we just had New York Comic Con 2019, and one of the things that came out of that is this guy. He was released, my understanding, in the States on Pulse, I think. Up here in Canada, he was finally released from Toys R Us, and I talked about kind of what happened when I originally went to pick this guy up. Nevertheless, I absolutely dig the way that this guy turned out, and I love that we live in a world where we now have an updated Siege via the Selects line, Powerdasher Cromar. And he's going to be our focus this time around, man, in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. I'm so happy that you're here today. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, that's right, man, hit that notification bell because it lets you know when content of all kinds goes up here on the channel, from countdowns to stop motions to reviews just like this one. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers Collectors NL, and the Autobot family. And of course, have a look for me everywhere across social media. And this is Powerdasher Cromar. Not that long ago, we looked at Zetar, and I said then that I loved Zetar because I love the Brunt mold, and Zetar is basically Brunt with a nice drill hat, and I dig it. And a while ago when we looked at Six Gun, I said that I dig that, so it was a fairly good chance that I was going to dig this guy. But is he as good as Six Gun? Is he better? Or is he about the same? Well, you know what the best thing to do is take a look at him in this mode, in his other official modes, and we're even going to look at an unofficial mode that really harkens back to his G1 roots. We're going to cover it all when we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And indeed, today we live in a world where we have a second of the Powerdashers, that being Cromar, finally. I went through a bit of an ordeal to get this guy. I had him in hand a couple of weeks ago, but they wouldn't sell him to me. I've already explained all of that. He was street dated for October 4th, which I believe is when he went up for pre-order in the US. I picked this guy up locally at Toys R Us, and I am happy to finally see him. I also know that he's available locally, or at least in Canada, at EB Games. I've seen him there as well. And honestly, I love this mold as Six Gun. I love this mold now, again, as Cromar. I looked at Six Gun in full in episode 535. So when we go through things here, I will show his different modes. I'll kind of get them apart, but honestly, I showed the transformations and the configurations there, so I really don't want to belabor the issue any longer than I have to here. So let's jump right into things and look at his ugly box first. And here we have an ugly box that offers absolutely nothing to excite and entice fans other than the name. I note that because I know that we're going to be going through a change with packaging and whatnot, but I see these on the shelves, and I'm going to tell you now, they absolutely are not eye-catching at all. It's just a bunch of brown boxes on a shelf. There's nothing enticing about this in the least, but I do like those sweet Siege instructions, and both sides of the instruction sheet have steps and whatnot on them because this guy becomes so much, you know, he has so many modes, so much is done because he becomes accessories and pieces for other figures. We know that by now anyway. Of course, my favorite part are the accessory stats. His, legs and feet become, anti-gravity cannons. And, it's not real strong or super duper accurate, but it does have a great range, so, I don't know, he can go off the ground high, I guess. Then we have the main body with those four, blasters on it, and that's like a guided missile launcher thing. Extremely strong, extremely accurate, huge range, extremely powerful. Then we have his kind of head and shoulders, his very upper body, and that makes the dual flank boost launcher, which again is super powerful. Not the most accurate, but it has again a very high range. His arms and the blasters on the back of his arms are very strong with a huge range and pretty darn accurate. And last but not least, the two little red blasters, they're not real strong. They have
halfway range, like it's okay, but they're also quite accurate. So this guy is actually like a one-man armed force.
Here we have Cromar with Zetar, or Zetar, however you want to say it. Man, I need the third one. Somehow, some way, I need that third one. I love these guys. Like, here's the thing. I vaguely remember them, like, from G1. Not so much Zetar, but looking back and seeing the G1 version of Cromar, I'm like, you know what? I knew people who had that, or at least a knockoff of it. And like, I thought it was cool then, but I didn't know just kind of how much of like a one-man battle force he really is. The more I learn, the more interesting I find these guys. And though they have weird fiction, I like this force. I feel like that they're strong backup for any team. Now, this is one of those cases where we really don't have a whole lot in the way of fiction, so we're going to do his paint apps based on his original figure. And honestly, this guy's pretty darn accurate. The head is pretty much spot on. We will see that shortly. The arms on the original were chrome silver. Here we have like a gray for the arms. I get it. The chest torso was all black. Now, granted, we have a few extra little details here because of the like alt mode and whatnot. The Autobot symbol is still there on the chest. I think it's as accurate as they're going to get for it. The upper legs are gray here. Of course, they too were silver originally. The lower legs are red, just like they should be. This is actually quite accurate. I'm going to say that it's a solid. It would be nice if the arms and the thighs were perhaps silver. I could see some people actually chroming them with like a chrome pen. I could see it being done. There's no reason not to. I'm not going to bother with it, but I could see it being done. I'm going to say, though, that this is a solid 9.5. It's really close to being accurate. Really close. What about the articulation? Well, the articulation on 6 gun was, I believe, like a 9.9. Like, it was pretty great. And honestly, I think the same thing here. We have a head that can go, left and right. It doesn't really look up or down. The arms are on like a soft ratchet that goes all the way around. They can go way out. We have 90 degree at the elbow. We have bicep swivel. Nothing at the wrist, just like before. We have a waist. We have legs out to the side, all the way forward, way forward actually. He can do high kicks and everything. Way back, thigh swivel, 90 degree at the knee, deep ankle tilt. About the only thing missing is wrist rotation. That's why he's not a perfect 10. Otherwise, the guy's pretty fantastic. What am I doing here that's causing him to like fall back like that? I'm sure it's me. I have no doubt that it's me. So just as before where it was a 9.9, I'm going to say it's a 9.9 here. That's not a bad start, man. I mean, we had a 9.5 and a 9.9. I don't know. The guy's like a 9.8. Honestly, I'm just going to say it now. The transformation is a 10 because he can do so much. He can even really kind of get into his original G1 alt mode. It's a little stylized in terms of how you get there, but it's pretty reminiscent of it if you know that weird space jet type of mode that he had. And of course, he can get in the configurations that we kind of know and love from 6 gun. Here's the thing. That means that the overall score for this guy is about a 9.9. It's almost perfect. I would say Zetar just edges out a little bit of a win for me. But that's just me. One could easily argue that this guy edges out the win. Honestly, they're both pretty fantastic. I find all of the tolerances on all of the joints on this guy just as good. Actually, I find them exactly the same as I did on 6 gun. Yes, we have reached a point where we are into mold reuses. We've looked at a lot of them this week. And I said, when we looked at, I think it was like wave, 2 deluxes, I believe. Maybe the wave 3 deluxes. Yeah, the wave 3 deluxes. Like, I said then that I was impressed that we had so many new molds. We were bound to get repaints. I got this guy cheaper than what retail is. So I got him pretty much for what the cost would be if he was a Power of the Primes deluxe class figure, and to me, yeah, he's innocent. This is a fantastic deal for that. And I absolutely dig the way that it turned out. What about those modes now that we have him here? Well, we're going to do the plane first. We're going to do his 2 loadouts, and lastly, we'll do kind of his, like, I'm going to say the unofficial mode of his G1 iteration. So we're going to begin, and we're going to take the arms off. We're going to sort of lift the chest up, unpeg and unpeg, and then we lift all of this up. We're even going to take these pieces out for now. And we're left with this. We're going to turn this around at the waist. We're going to straighten those up. There's a hinge back here, so we just straighten those up. Then we're going to bend up the legs. There is a rectangular slot there on the thigh. It's going to go over a red peg right there. And then you bend the knee and you straighten up the toes. You do the same on this side where you bring it up. You may have to, there you go. You put that in, close those up, and you bend the knees. And this is the kind of plain mode, not done, but like it's sort of getting there. We're going to use this peg back right here, or this peg hole I should say, right here, and that's what his upper body will go into. Speaking of his upper body, we have this, and to do the upper body, really all we're doing is turning the head around. We're picking up this piece on the back that comes up and covers the face. This comes up on the front. These pieces straighten out on the sides, and then there's peg holes here on the side. Those peg holes on the side will be where we place the arms again. The arms had been pegged in up here, now they're pegged in on the side here. And we do the same thing over here. And there's a peg hole, a black peg down here. That black peg will be used in that peg hole that I pointed out earlier right there. And we're going to bring this down and peg it in, and it looks like this. And when we finally place those red cannon pieces up, like on the top of his shoulders basically, this is what we get for that plane mode. It's, you know, it's a something. It's a plane mode. Now this is not his G1 plane mode. We're going to show that in just a little bit. But this is the official, you know, Cybertronic plane, I guess, that he becomes based on what Six Gun becomes. What about his first loadout? And so yes, here we have the cool but astonishingly back-heavy defensive loadout. And like, all it is we took his upper body, the section with his head and his shoulders, and we straightened it out and put the like lower legs and feet on the 2 sides with the little red cannon things up on top. And then you start to kind of flip the cockpit section forward just a little bit, and it reveals a hidden 5mm port. And we use that port to put the kind of lower body and hips into. And we kind of take the hips and flay them out to the side, use the pegs that's there that usually the thighs will peg up into, and attach the 2 arms. It is weird, but it is definitely defensive because there's a lot of blasters going on here, man. A lot of blasters. That being said, it's the entire Cromar figure on the back of Red Alert in this case. And I chose Red Alert because I tried this loadout on a couple of figures and they don't work on everybody. I could not get it to work on Cybertron Defense Hotshot. I couldn't get it to work on Hound. I couldn't get it to work on Brunt or Zetar. It's okay on, say, Ratchet and Ironhide. But I really feel like it's probably made for Red Alert and Sideswipe. Although you can see how kind of leaned forward Red Alert is here. Otherwise, the guy is just gonna fall on his back, man, because this is just too much. Now this, naturally, is not our only loadout. We also have the offensive loadout, and that looks a little bit different because it's broken up. It might be a bit of a better loadout, at least in my opinion, and it looks like this. And while we still definitely have a backpack, we now have a nice shield on the arm, and we even have foot blasters, I guess, toe blasters. I don't know, maybe that's the anti-gravity thing. He can fly now. I don't know, but I think that this overall kind of works at least a little bit better. At least he's not tipping over. If we kind of go around, you can see the way like his shoes are. You know, the backpack is far more minimal with the kind of 4 cannons facing down. I can believe that they're thrusters, like for a flying backpack. He does have now 2 kind of shoulder-mounted blasters, which of course are the arms, but I dig it. And I love his huge defensive shield. I mean, as a rescue vehicle, like Red Alert could, I don't know, you know, there was a big explosion and he needs to brave the flames and go through them. Well, it's a good thing he has his crusty Cromar shield to protect him as he, you know, presses forward to save Hoist, maybe? I don't know. You know, maybe Hoist? Why not? I like Hoist. Plus, he's getting a new figure in Earthrise, so, like, why not talk about Hoist? I think that new figure looks that's right, fantastic. I love it. And there's one other loadout, really, that we can do. It is the, and we've seen this before, it is the high precision launcher Gauntlet. To be fair, the only real part that's supposed to be on here is the Gauntlet over here, which is made up of essentially the lower body and the upper body pegged together in a different configuration to make it look like the 4 blasters on the back and the 2 hip, I guess, pegs look like a hand, a big hand thing. The lower legs of Cromar here, they're not used, so I just left them on his boots. The arms aren't used, so I just put them in as shoulder cannons, but you get the idea. The real star of the show would be that Gauntlet hand thing over there. The rest of it is, you know, nothing special, nothing we haven't seen before. The Gauntlet is, like, it's a cool idea. It feels like it was probably a fan mode that they found that was cool and said, hey, let's make this thing official, man. I do think, though, if you're going to have 1 Gauntlet on, you should have 2 on. Like, do the same thing with, say, 6 gun and put them on Ironhide. You know, if there's a bulkhead kicking around that you could somehow, like, put them on, that would work, too. Like, put him on one of the big burly bruisers, man, and give him, like, huge robot fists. Not just his regular robot fists, but, like, extra robot-y robot fists. And, of course, that brings us to the last thing that I wanted to show you guys. So here's where we will begin. We take the upper body, we've unpegged it, we have the cockpit section down. The head is turned around, that back piece is up, we have the cockpit section up, and then we straighten out this arm, and we straighten out this arm. And then we will angle the arms forward. And same over here, we're going to angle it forward. We should be able to angle it in such a way that we bring the hands together for now. And these blasters here, we're going to remove those. When we come to the lower body, we convert it as we always did. But now we take those blasters that were on the arms and we put them in the peg holes that are on the feet to kind of make the weird, like, very back tail fin wings that was in G1. We're still going to use this peg here to put the upper body on, except now it looks like this. And boom, here we have the fan mode. I put the little red blasters just out on the wingtips, but like, if you know the original alt mode for this guy, this is fairly accurate. If I'm being honest, this is fairly accurate to it. As weird as it might be. Man, look at that beautifully goofy face. Like, it's accurate, but like, again, it looks kind of immature, but like, it's so gloriously goofy that I love it, man. At the end of the day, I totally understand why somebody would, you know, pass by the Powerdashers. They might very easily say, well, I'm not invested in them, I don't know the characters, and I'm not a huge fan of the whole weaponizer gimmick, so I don't need more copies of that mold. I get it. Either you're in or you're out for it. But in terms of, like, again, value for money, you get so much here, and if you are anything like me, you will probably be able to get it for a little bit below retail at a sale or something. I think it's definitely worth that. It's a solid entry in the Siege line and a solid entry in my collection. I gotta find a way to get that third member though, man. Gotta find a way to get that third member. And here we are once again, and here he is, and he's pretty fantastic. You know, his articulation is second to none. All the joints, every one of them are just as tight on this guy as they were on 6-gun. He feels very sturdy and solid in all of his various modes. He can even manage to pull off his original G1 mode. Come on, what's not to like here? Like I said, outside of a lacking wrist swivel, that's it. That's the only weakness I can find with this, and I think he's a worthy addition to my collection, or anyone's for that matter. We have two, him and Zetar, both of which are excellent. I guess that means there's only one more to go. You know I love to hear from you guys and what you think about these guys. As always, again, please hit that subscribe button. If you have not done so, it helps me out so very much. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, don't forget that there's a donate link down in the description. Don't forget as well, and most importantly, that somehow, some way, each and every day, you do make a difference. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams, at the stop motion premieres, or right here the old-fashioned way, man, inside the videos.